Hello, my name is Anne Gassick, and I'm a student at the College of the Holy Cross. I conducted research on a wooden relief carving called the Sacrifice of Isaac. It's a relatively small rectangular piece of wood that measures 19.9 centimeters by 13.7 centimeters that was probably made in the early 13th century in an Islamic context. It has been associated with the Mamluks, an Islamic dynasty who ruled in Egypt and Syria from the 13th to the 14th centuries. This scene, based on Genesis 22 in the Old Testament, shows Abraham, who wears an elaborate headdress, an oval halo around his head, a robe tied by a sash, and high boots, as he's about to sacrifice his beloved son Isaac, who is dressed in loincloth, with his back on the altar and a knife at his throat. As Abraham holds the knife to Isaac's throat, he turns around because he hears the voice of an angel telling him to sacrifice the ram caught in the tree instead. In the upper right, there is a cloud formation with the hand of God blessing the event. The angel and the ram and the hand of God have suddenly appeared miraculously on the scene. Abraham's body turns in a way that shows that he was looking at his son Isaac, but then his head has turned to look at the angel. The altar with Isaac and his vulnerable body serves as the still center of the piece, with these other things happening around it. The primary elements of the piece are Abraham, Isaac, the altar he's on, the angel, the tree, the ram, the cloud, and the hand of God. They are all executed in high relief, meaning that the design is projected out more than the background. The background consists of a large floral scroll composed of split leaves, lotus buds, blossoms, and an oversized palmette. The floral arabesque is carved in low relief. The palmette moves from the background into the foreground, linking the two planes. Palmettes were meant to be a sign of the journey to Jerusalem, where the sacrifice of Isaac took place. The wood was originally covered with gesso and gilded. Gesso is a mix of animal glue and chalk, providing a smooth surface onto which gold leaf is applied. Remains of gold leaf can be seen on the most important parts of the image: the altar, Abraham's halo and robe, the ram, and the angel. This wooden relief carving is said to be from the Church of Abu Serga in Old Cairo, Egypt. In 13th century Egypt, although the rulers were Muslim, there were still a number of Christians living and worshiping there. The Church of Abu Serga was very old. It was originally built in the 4th century and witnesses the long history of Christianity in Egypt. This church was said to have been built on the spot where Mary, Joseph, and the baby Jesus rested at the end of their journey into Egypt. Based on the fact that there are 3 mortises on the sides and nail holes on the upper and lower edges, this panel was most likely part of an altar screen that contained representations of a series of religious stories. There are many examples of Gothic and Byzantine altar screens that show different biblical scenes in each panel, which could have been similar to what the sacrifice of Isaac was a part of. Some common aspects of Mamluk art represented in this piece are the design on Abraham's robe, the beaded strips at the hem and upper arm, the tree with the articulated trunk, the floral scroll, and the bud-shaped branches. Other wood pieces I found have similar floral patterns and symmetrical rectangular structures in comparison to the sacrifice of Isaac. Though the Mamluks were not particularly known for their wood carvings, there were many ivory relief carvings from the same time period. Finding information about what tools were used to create the sacrifice of Isaac was difficult because portable tools would have been easy to lose, and there are not many Mamluk wooden relief carvings. Researching these similar ivory carvings, I was able to find that they used small tools such as axes, chisels, and adzes to create these pieces, which I picture also being used for wooden relief carvings. The sacrifice of Isaac was thought to have occurred in Jerusalem, which was the destination of the Crusaders. In the scene, God tests Abraham by telling him to kill his son and seeing how he responds. Once Abraham is about to kill his son, his faith and devotion to God is proven. With the devotion to God that all 3 religions had during the Crusades, this scene seems particularly relevant as the Crusades fought for the Holy Land, which is what they believe God wanted them to do.